Russia tells Armenia that there will be serious consequences if it sides with the ICC over the arrest warrant for Putin. Russia is telling Armenia that if it follows through with plans to join the International Criminal Court, there will be serious consequences. A source in the Russian Foreign Ministry told the state-run RIA news agency that Armenia's plans to join the ICC are unacceptable. It said that Russia had warned Armenia's government that there would be extremely negative consequences between their two countries if Armenia joined the Rome Statute, which would need to be approved by Armenia's constitutional court and then passed by the Armenian parliament. A Russian Foreign Ministry source said that Moscow thinks Yerevan's plans to join the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court are unacceptable in light of the recent illegal warrants issued by the ICC against the Russian government. Russia has always had Armenia as a friend. Both countries agree to protect each other, and Russia keeps troops and a military base in Armenia. But things have gotten worse in the last few months. Yerevan says that Moscow isn't going to keep the peace agreement it helped make between Armenia and Azerbaijan to end a war over Nagorno-Karabakh, an area of Azerbaijan with a large Armenian population, by 2020. The ICC said earlier this month that it had issued an order for Putin's arrest for war crimes, saying that he was personally responsible for the kidnapping of Ukrainian children. The Kremlin said that the move was pointless and an extreme example of partisanship. It was the first time that a leader of one of the 5 regular members of the UN Security Council was wanted by the World Court. Putin's idiocy is making his government weak, and the Russian economy has been scarred for decades because of it. Vladimir Putin raised the stakes this weekend when he said in a TV interview that Russia was going to move and place tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus because the West was sending military aid to Ukraine. A NATO representative called the Russian president's words dangerous and irresponsible, and one of Ukraine's top security officials said Putin is holding Ukraine's partner as a nuclear hostage. Now, a political expert and historian has told Express.co.uk that even if Putin wins in Ukraine, the effects of this dirty war on Russia so far and in the future could be very bad, especially for Russia's economy. Professor Mark Galeotti, a political scientist and historian who has written several books about Russia and Putin, including the well-known 2019 book We Need to Talk About Putin, has said that even if Putin wins, he will pay a lot for everything that happens in between. He said that any win was Pyrrhic, which was a reference to the Greek king Pyrrhus of Epirus, who lost so many troops to Rome that he could never get them back. Like Pyrrhus, Putin has lost a lot more men than he thought he would because he thought the war would only last a few days. Since it started, the Ukrainian military has killed more than 137,780 Russian soldiers. The war has been going on for more than a year, and the author of Putin's Wars, which will be published in 2022, told Express.co.uk that it has already made Putin's government weaker. He said, "This war and the stupid decisions he's made about it are making his government much weaker. It looks tough, but it's much less fluid and less able to handle emergencies." Russia's economy has already been hurt, and it will take years or even decades for it to really get better. So Russia could end up with some land, but it could also still be under economic sanctions. The war is expected to hurt Russia's economy for a long time. A 30-year loss is expected. Statista says that since the invasion in February of last year, countries and organizations all over the world have put almost 11,000 restrictions on Russian people and more than 4,000 restrictions on Russian companies, institutions, and ships. According to the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, Russia's gross domestic product, GDP, fell by at least 2.2% last year. The World Bank's analysis also shows that the country's economy will continue to shrink by 3%. But the IMF thinks that there might be a little growth this year. Professor Galeotti said it was hard to say how the war might end. Low-level fighting could go on, especially in the places that are being fought over, but if tactical nukes are used, the war could change in a new way. He also said, it could be fighting a low-level underground war against Ukrainians in the areas it has taken over. It doesn't look like either side will be able to win a clean victory in this very dirty war. Putin will be killed before any trial for war crimes, says a Russia analyst. A Russia expert has said that Russia's elite could silence President Vladimir Putin before he has a chance to face justice at the court in The Hague. The International Criminal Court, ICC, said on March 17 that Putin had illegally taken children from Ukraine to Russia during his full-scale attack of the nearby country. This made Putin a global criminal. The arrest order requires the 123 countries that are part of the ICC to arrest both Putin and Maria Lvova-Belova, who is in charge of children's rights in Russia. The Center for European Policy Analysis, CEPA, has pointed out that Putin must be arrested by law if he ever steps foot on an ICC state's territory. This includes every member of the European Union, most African states, all Latin and South American states except Cuba and Nicaragua, and even Tajikistan. But it's possible that the Russian leader won't even get to The Hague. Vlad Mikhaichnenko, an expert on the post-communist changes in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union at the University of Oxford in the United Kingdom, told Newsweek that the Siloviki, an elite group of Russian businesses and leaders, could silence Putin. Mikhaichnenko said, given Putin's many ties across Europe and what he might be able to tell the judges about corruption and shady deals between Moscow and major Western capitals, there will be a lot of reason to keep him quiet before The Hague. Mikhaichnenko said that the Russian leader is now extremely vulnerable at home because of the arrest warrant from the ICC. Moscow does not agree that the ICC has authority or that its citizens should be sent there. Mikhaichnenko did say, though, that Putin could be arrested and sent to court in The Hague if he lost power or if Russia's leaders set him up to be caught in order to get rid of him. Mikhaichnenko said that if Putin goes to ICC member states and gets in trouble, it could be because the Siloviki set him up to be arrested, to get rid of him, or to fix Russia's relationship with the West. It would be easy to make up a replacement who would promise to punish the death of the dear leader, but it would all be for show, he said. Mikhaichnenko said that Russia's former president Dmitry Medvedev's recent comments are rather extraordinary in light of the fact that the Kremlin is trying to hide the ICC arrest order from public view. Medvedev, who is the deputy head of Russia's Security Council and was prime minister for 8 years, has said that trying to arrest Putin on the ICC's order would be the same as declaring war on Russia. He jumped in to say that he was holier than the Pope and more of a warmonger than Putin himself. It was as if he was saying, whatever happens to Putin, you can trust me, the ultra-patriot, I will show them, Mikhaichnenko said. At the same meeting with the heads of the Russian military-industrial complex, he also tried to force them to work harder by saying, produce 1,500 tanks this year or else. He did this by bringing up 2 of Stalin's scary telegrams from World War II, in which he threatened lazy comrades with death if they didn't meet production quotas. Mikhaichnenko added, so, Medvedev keeps trying, but so far without success, to win over the Siloviki and make himself look and sound super tough and uncompromising to Russia's enemies in the West. On Saturday, Putin's friend and the head of the Russian government, Vyacheslav Volodin, suggested that the ICC's work be stopped. Volodin said in a post on his Telegram channel that changes need to be made to the law to make it illegal for the ICC to do anything in our country.